Common West African cropgrass and sedgeweeds. The following grass and sedgeweeds impact tropical climate crops. You are likely to encounter at least a few of them during your work in agriculture. Creating and maintaining a weed album, such as the page in the photo at the right, will be helpful to identify weeds and the best sources of treatment and control. Keep in mind the weed, your crop, and your available resources as you review the weed details. Speargrass, more commonly known as Kogon grass, is a pyrophyte, a plant that has adapted to tolerate fire. It is a perennial. It has fibrous roots, rhizomes, and grass or sedge. It reproduces via seed and vegetative. It disseminates via animals, tools, vehicles, wind, fire, and sail. Habitat: moderate rainfall, most soil types in areas with a temperate winter, grassland, cultivated or uncultivated farmlands, transportation embankments, deforested areas, pine and hardwood forests, reclaimed mined areas, and recreational areas. Positives: medicinal, livestock feed, erosion control, ornamental, dyes, weaving, thatching, and matting. Negatives: fires kill any other plants. It is highly flammable, fuels and increases fire temperature. It is successfully adapted to a variety of habits and resources. Deep roots and rhizomes. Extremely mobile, exponential seed production. Seed hooks are very effective means of dispersal. It decreases biodiversity and significantly suppresses other plant growth. Weed management: hand or machine weeding with removal of roots and rhizomes. Do not use fire. Fire encourages growth and seed dispersal. Early intervention, regular follow-up, and herbicides. Tropical climate crops impacted: hemp, teak, pineapple, groundnut, soybean, tea, coffee, citrus, fig, and coconut, cotton, rubber, maize, barley, rice, potato, sweet potato, and cassava, plantain, African oil palm, and sugarcane. Elephant grass is a weed native to tropical and sub-Saharan Africa. It is highly adapted to many habitats, forming tall, dense strands as it develops. Elephant grass can modify ecosystems. It is considered to be one of the most successful invasive species in the world. It is a perennial. Its morphology is grass, extensive roots, rhizomes, and stolons. It produces seeds, but mostly vegetative. It is disseminated via animals, tools, vehicles, and wind. Its habitats are waterways, wetlands and arid soil, drought conditions, floodplains, riparian areas, swamps, forest edges, disturbed sites, and waste ground. Its positives are hay, livestock feed, silage, which is preserved feed for future use, hedgerows, windbreak, erosion control, fences, screens, building supports, diuretic, herbal remedies, ornamental, green manure. Negatives: aggressive growth, habitat generalist, deep roots, rhizomes, stolons, highly mobile seeds despite low numbers, modifies the ecosystem, lessens biodiversity, and tolerates or benefits from drought and many other control mechanisms. It can be managed by hand or machine weeding with elimination of the roots and rhizomes, mowing and burning the foliage, herbicides. The tropical climate groups impacted are cashew, pineapple, coffee, tea, cola, cocoa, African oil palm, rubber, rice, banana, and sugarcane. Nutgrass or nutsedge is highly invasive, impacting more than 50 crops in over 90 countries. Its prolific rhizomes also develop tubers that absorb and store nutrients and water and can reproduce as well. The tubers are viable for up to 7 years. It is a perennial, it is a sedge, it reproduces primarily vegetative, it is disseminated via vehicles, tools, soil and gravel, and water. Habitat: variable soil, moisture, humidity in cultivated, neglected, or fallow land, alongside transportation ways, riparian banks, woods, sand dunes, does not tolerate shade or high salt content. Positives: livestock feed, erosion control, eaten as a vegetable, medicinal. Negatives: successful, aggressive, rapid growth. The tubers, shown here, absorb nutrients, suppressing other growth and crop yield. Significant losses to tubers and other underground crops. Extensive life cycle and viability. Multiple methods of reproduction. Suppresses plants, reduces biodiversity, impacts the ecosystem, and tolerates or even benefits from multiple control mechanisms. Weed management. Prevention is critical, as it is very hard to treat or control nutgrass once it's established. Weeding, including destruction of rhizomes and tubers, and then dry out the removed tubers and eliminate any potential nutrient sources. Some herbicides and fungi have been able to reduce numbers. Tropical climate crops impacted: hemp, onion, groundnut, tea, peppers, coconut, coffee, and jute. Rice, sugarcane, tomato, sorghum, spinach and wheat, and finally maize, soybean, and cotton.